This is Performance Anxiety on the Pantheon Podcast Network, and I am your host, Mark. And today's guest has done so many things that I would like to do, and he tells us all about it. Welcome bassist and founding member of A Monkey Shine, George Tolias. George joins us from Athens, Greece, not Georgia. He got a late start in music. He didn't even start playing until his wife bought him a bass about 20 years ago. But he's a quick study. Once he got comfortable, he started playing in a cover band. But they had a bit of an unusual set list. And George describes what it's like to play non-Greek rock music in Athens and how he wound up in New Orleans. After staying quite a bit longer than expected, he moved to France to become a chef. But no matter where he goes, he's joining bands. And after moving back to Greece, George decided to get serious about his own band, A Monkey Shine. But then COVID hit, so it essentially started out as a solo project. But it has grown by leaps and bounds since then, and George gives up the origin of the band's unusual name, the difficulties of finding a singer who could sing well in English, and the secret origin of his bass. He also talks about the most special song on the album that he wrote for his mom, which also features Duke Garwood. A Monkey Shine's debut is out, and there's a vinyl version too. Check it out on Bandcamp. He's also working on some tour dates in the near future, and he's already working on new music. So follow him at @amonkeyshine_official on Instagram, or look for them on Facebook. Follow us at PerformanceANX on socials. Our merch is at performanceanx.threadless.com. Slide us some coffee money at ko-fi.com/performanceanxiety. Now it's time to get to know good with my friend George from A Monkey Shine on Performance Anxiety on the Pantheon Podcast Network.
The podcast, the name of the podcast was, what's Performance Anxiety. Okay, so my name is George Tolias in Greek, and I'm the bass player and the songwriter for A Monkey Shine, an alternative rock band based in Athens, Greece, and it's a 6-piece band. And I thank Mark so much for inviting me to this podcast, Performance Anxiety, this afternoon in Greece. And thank you, Mark, for having me. And what else? Sorry, I don't know what to say. The album. Okay, I'll do it one more time. Hi guys, I'm George from A Monkey Shine, an alternative rock group from Athens, Greece. We just released our new album, our debut album called Alter State, on digital platforms and everything. And thank you very much for listening to the album. I hope you like it. It's our first effort, so be kind. And thank you, Mark, for having us in your podcast, Performance Anxiety. Thank you very much for inviting me and talking. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Good. How are you doing? Sorry, I was in the bathroom. Sorry. And I was making my coffee.
No problem at all.
How are you doing, man? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. It's getting really hot in Greece, man. Athens is like, wow.
Really?
Wow. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's been hotter here in Virginia too. It's like been in the upper 90s. So it's,
wow. That's bad.
Yeah. But it's summer. What do you expect? So.
Yeah. In August it gets really worse here in Greece. It gets it's burning hot. I don't know. We have Celsius here, which is 45 centigrade degrees. Which is I don't know, maybe 100.
Oh wow! Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's nice to see you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, man. I've been listening to the album and I'm really enjoying it, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much, man. I'm really glad you like it.
I do. I really do, and it's one of those that's grown on me the more I listen to it. So before we jump too deeply into the music, I do want to thank our mutual friend Allison for getting us connected, because without her, I don't know if this would have happened.
You're right. Yeah. I'm really glad. I actually met her through Facebook.
Yes.
So we're both Mark Lanigan fans.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how we met, actually. We were talking about Mark and everything, and yeah. And
she's just so sweet. So I just,
she's sweet, yeah. She's very sweet, yeah.
So I'm so glad she got us connected because you've got just this awesome album out. But I want to find out how we got to that point. So the way I do this, I usually ask this basically the same questions to start each podcast and find out the same information because I like to know when music became so important to you. So did you grow up in a house with a lot of music? I mean, were your parents musical? I always had this assumption that everyone in Greece is always running around playing music like a bouzouki or something. So
bouzouki, yeah, that's the traditional, but yeah.
I'm probably being incredibly stereotypical and maybe even racist. I don't know, but I do always have have had the assumption that music is a very big part of Greek culture.
Actually, it is. I mean, we have traditional music, which goes back like many years. Like, we have rebetiko, which is our kind of blues, let's say, in Greece. Okay. It's called rebetiko. So actually, I was in Mississippi once, and I went to a bar there, and a guy, I started talking to a guy, they were playing live music and stuff, and I talked with a guy there in America and said, I'm Greek, wow, Greece, you have rebetiko there, which is the blues for us. So, I was with a Greek friend and my partner, my wife, and we had really fun. We played a Greek song, in Clarksdale, Mississippi, like in the middle of nowhere,
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
That was really interesting connecting with the guys there, with the locals, and music-wise. And Greece has a big history. We have a lot of music going on here. So not so much the English part. I mean, the English lyrics, let's say, but mostly in Greek, traditional Greek stuff,
So did you grow up with a lot of music in the house, and was it the traditional?
Yeah, my dad was actually a big fan of, he still is, of Elvis, Elvis Presley and Roy Orbison, things like he loves Paul Anka, the Canadian. But my dad actually was born and raised in Montreal, so he got into this Leonard Cohen, a lot of Cohen songs and stuff. So I always had the vinyl spinning, let's say, when I was young, in the house. My mom was more into Neil Young stuff, like more into rock, kind of stuff, Beatles and the Rolling Stones.
Yeah. So
that's how I was, as a kid, I was like intrigued by like, Mom, what is this? That's how, I never had a musician around me though.
Oh, really?
In my house. No. There are no musicians, but just my cousin. My cousin is a guitar player, but he lives in France now. And no musicians in the house, just music,
So what got you into playing music? Was it something that you asked your parents to do, or did they make you do it?
I will have to say that my wife is actually the reason why I started playing music. So,
wow, okay.
Yes, she's French. She's from Karen's her name, and she bought me a bass like 20 years ago.
Oh, okay. Just out of the blue. Hey, here's bass.
She bought a bass guitar because I was always into bass. I liked the bass players. I was into Roger Waters, Pink Floyd stuff for a while. Primus, Les Claypool. Yeah. So I said, I want to play the bass one day. I was always into, but I never had a bass. I never tried, and my wife told me, I'm going to get you a bass. So I'm going to buy a bass for you. And then she bought me the first bass was a Fender Squire bass. And I started playing, and I started doing lessons, taking lessons.
Okay.
Private lessons and stuff. I never had a formal education, musical education. I never went to a conservatory or, did music. I just did lessons in the house, for a while, for a few years.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's how I started playing bass, about 20 years ago.
Wow, so you kind of got a little bit of a late start in music then.
Yeah, it was a late start, that's true, yeah.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. when did you start playing with other people? I mean, was that pretty soon after you started playing, or did you keep it to yourself mostly?
I was actually training by myself, doing cover songs and doing riffs and trying, to do a little bit of a music theory, a little bit, reading. I actually did some lessons online with an English dude from London.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. And then I said to my wife, you know what, I'd like to maybe be in a band and try and do some cover songs for starters, just not writing anything original. So I called a friend. She had a friend, and so I called him Akis, who's now in the band.
Oh, cool!
That's 20 years ago. 15 years ago now. And he's a guitar player. He's the lead guitar player now in the band. So I called my friend Akis and I said, "Would you like to play? Have a cover band and do some songs?" So we started playing at home mostly, and for doing cover songs and parties for friends, private parties and stuff. So we had a band, with my wife singing, actually. Karen was singing, yeah. She has a good voice.
So what kind of songs were you covering? What music were you covering?
That's actually, we had a good connection as far as influences, and we had like Mark Lanigan songs, PJ Harvey songs, Pearl Jam, a little Stone Temple Pilots. I'm a big fan of STP.
Okay.
I like Tiny music. For me is actually a masterpiece. And so we're covering, around Pixies.
Oh, nice.
King Bill. What else? We did some Queens of Stone Age. Oh. Masters of Reality, if you know Masters, Chris Goss, amazing. Yes. Yeah. So we're doing something, this stuff,
Yeah, my buddy Jordan Zadarazzi from Blink of the Star turned me on to Masters of Reality.
Yeah, I saw them this year in Germany.
Oh, wow.
In Germany, after 25 years the last time I saw them was in Scotland in 1998, I think. 98, yeah. Wow.
Oh, that is awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, that sound is killer. So what's this scene like there when you start playing out? And it's not parties or something. What is the scene for rock music in Greece, specifically where you're at? Is there a lot of places to play?
There's a lot of rock music, but it's always the problem in Greece is I wouldn't say problem. Maybe Greeks don't they're not very comfortable with with the English lyrics, English music, like English style stuff.
Okay.
So there are there are fans, there are music fans that love rock music, but the scene's quite I wouldn't say small, but it's like underground. When we say underground music, not mainstream stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like this, the term, the underground, but it's all music.
Yeah.
It's either underground, mainstream. That's all. I don't care about this, this genre and formalities. But the things that it's quite limited in Greece. The rock scene and actually the metal music is quite big in Greece.
Oh wow!
Now.
Okay.
Well, it's been but. We're trying. There are many bands coming out and trying to do their best, but you're still Greek, so the English language is not that easy, for the Greeks to, especially for vocals, that's the thing.
Yeah, I've heard that before, yeah.
Yeah, and we have a pretty good scene, I think, for a small country like Greece, yeah. It's doing better lately than before.
So it's on the rise then. It's improving.
It's improving, yeah. Let's say it's improving because people are becoming more open to new sounds and stuff. And but still, you have the pop scene, the Greek pop scene, which is which is okay. A few songs I like pop sometimes, but it's.
It's not your go-to.
It doesn't hit me as much as rock music. You know what I mean? Yeah, it doesn't hit me. Yeah.
Same here. So after a while, you actually ended up in New Orleans. What brought you over to New Orleans?
Well, New Orleans, that's a big story. I mean, the first time we visited New Orleans was we went with my wife, we traveled to New Orleans as tourists, go for a vacation, and everyone was, they were talking about New Orleans. Our friend Dave Rosser, our dear friend Dave Rosser, we met Dave here in Greece. He used to be the guitar player for the Athens Greece.
Oh yeah.
The Athens Greece with Greg Dooley, and we met him here in Greece, and we were talking about after a concert and talking about New Orleans, and you have to come and see New Orleans and everything. And he was really excited to show us his city, and we said, you know what? Maybe it's a good idea to go to New Orleans for a while and stay for a week or so. And the first time we visited New Orleans was in 2015. Well, that was our big visit. So the first time was before that, but after Katrina, we went after Katrina, the first time, after the hurricane. So, and we decided to move there, actually. I was working in Athens as an electronic engineer. I'm an engineer, actually. I studied engineering.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, in Scotland, in Edinburgh, Scotland. And
there's a Scottish connection there for you somewhere. How did Scotland get involved in this?
I had to decide when I was 19 that I had to go to university and do something, with my life. So I really liked engineering, electronic engineering, like telecommunications and networks and stuff, computer stuff. And I've always liked Braveheart, the film Braveheart was called, and Highlander. Highlander? Yeah.
And the only one.
Yeah, I'm the only one with a French actor playing the Scottish dude. Christopher Lambert. And I said to my mom, I don't want to study in Greece. I have to go away, And Scotland came up, and I said, yeah, I'll try Scotland. And
wow,
I went to Scotland. Yeah,
that's awesome.
For a few years.
Greece and Scotland. Yeah. Back to Greece. Then okay, so now we're in New Orleans.
Yeah.
All right, so you end up moving there and working there. What kind of work were you doing in there? I mean, it was engineering. Who were you working for, and what were you doing?
Yeah, I'm actually half Canadian, so I have a Canadian, passport. I have dual citizenship.
Oh, nice.
So I use my Canadian passport to get to the States. It's easier, that.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's And when we moved to New Orleans, it was for it was temporary. We said we would stay for 3 months.
Okay.
We're planning to travel actually with my wife and see the world and work there. My wife is she's a translator. She works for the European Union and a Canadian company also.
Oh, cool.
So she can work wherever she is. She just needs an internet connection and her laptop.
Wow.
So she can work wherever, and I said, let's try and stay in New Orleans for a while. And we met Dave Rosser, as I mentioned before, and we got to meet his friend Rick Nelson, who's also in the Athens Greece.
Yep.
He's a good friend of mine who lives in New Orleans, and he has a studio there, recording studio. It's called the Marigny Recording Studios. It's a neighborhood in the Marigny neighborhood. Yeah. And so I said, would you like me to be your assistant engineer or something? Why not? And
sure.
I was it was a dream to work, with an Athens with Rick.
Yeah.
In a studio, in a local studio, and so that's how we started. And I was going every morning and helping out. Doing cables, microphone placements, drums and everything, all the easy stuff.
All the grunt work.
Yeah. No mixing, no mastering. Well, I saw some mixing going on there. A lot of mixing. He's doing, mastering and stuff. Okay. So it was a really good experience. Yeah, was a kind of work. Yeah.
Were you playing music at that time, or were you just observing?
I was playing a little bit. I tried to create a band with another guy I met through Rick. He was a guitar player, and we said, "Yeah, let's do some blues. We're in New Orleans, so let's do some jazz shit and blues." And we tried, but it didn't work out. We tried for a while, for a few months. We weren't connecting a lot, the chemistry. So you need to have a very good guy, but we said, let's leave it there. And, and I was playing bass alone, and that's where, it was in New Orleans that I started writing bass riffs and lyrics for the album, for Altered State, for the album that came out. Yeah. So that was there.
What songs were the ones that you started at that point?
I was starting, we were living in a neighborhood where Katrina actually hit hard.
Yeah.
And I was talking with neighbors, and there was this guy named Joe, who was a neighbor.
Okay.
And we started talking about Katrina, drinking a beer, one day, and he told me some stories about Katrina. He was there and he saw everything, and I was actually moved by the way people it was devastating in a way, and so. For people, it's traumatized. Joe was really traumatized by Katrina, and I was listening to, a friend of his died. People that I don't want to be too morbid, but bodies floating around, things you don't see every day.
Right.
So, and I was really into it, learning more and what happened afterwards, and how the city. The people that moved out the city, and the city actually was a ghost city for a while. And so I started writing Deep in the Mud. The first song was Deep in the Mud. This is about Katrina in New Orleans. It's a nod to the city and the people. It's for the city of New Orleans and the people there and everything. That's how,
I remember that. Yeah. I was living in Alabama at the time when that hit. So we got a little bit of the displacement. We didn't get hit real hard. We got, it was an enormous hurricane, so we definitely had some damage, but nothing to the extent of New Orleans and Mississippi. Mississippi gets forgotten a lot about that. Mississippi got destroyed.
Destroyed, yeah. I don't know how far up though. It went up to Jackson.
Yeah,
no?
I think it went up quite a bit in Mississippi, but it was New Orleans got nailed because it was on the wrong side of the worst side of the hurricane, but the middle of the hurricane kind of went up Mississippi, and a lot of it got destroyed. New Orleans gets a lot of, and deservedly so, a lot of the focus of the disaster of Katrina. But Mississippi got nailed really bad, and I was in the kind of like the southern central part of Alabama, like about 20 miles off the Florida border. But I was about an hour and a half, maybe directly north of Panama City Beach. We didn't get, like I said, we had damage and all, but nothing close to what happened. But yeah, it was devastating for so many people, and it like you're saying, it affects people to this day because it was so traumatic. So many people lost so many of their family and friends. And
have you heard of the TV series called Treme?
No.
Treme is a neighborhood. Treme is a neighborhood in New Orleans. With John Goodman. I think John Goodman was in the film, in the series, and they made a 4-season series TV show for New Orleans. So I watched that also. You have to watch it one day. It's about Katrina and everything, yeah.
Oh, for sure. I will.
Treme is called, yeah.
So how long did you end up staying in New Orleans for?
Overall, about a year and a half, almost 2 years. Yeah.
Wow! So it went from we'll go for 3 months to a year and a half.
So we don't have any kids, no school duties, and no. So we were free, let's say, with my wife to stay, as long as we wanted abroad. Yeah.
And it sounds like you liked it there.
I liked it. I would. I went back twice after that. So we have a very good friend, Lee, who actually is our landlady. We're renting her house. So amazing, New Orleans. Yeah, it's like she's my soul mother, let's say in a way. She's a local, really born and bred New Orleans girl. Yeah. So yeah, and we love her so much, and we try to visit like once a year if we can for a week, or it's not that easy. It's far, but yeah.
So at some point you decided to return to Greece, and what was it? Just because hey, it's just time to go back, or was there a reason?
Yeah, we had to go back for family, family reason. We had to be closer to my dad and my wife's dad.
Okay.
Health issues and stuff, and we wanted to be closer to Europe. So we moved to France for a while. I worked as a chef for a while.
Oh wow!
writing ideas about that became outer state. When I was in France. So awesome. I moved from New Orleans, let's say, and then we went to Canada for a while also, for 6 months. Yeah. It's an amazing story. So we did all the three. We went to Vancouver and then Montreal. I worked in Montreal. I had a band there in Vancouver called
really?
Blue Moon. The Blue Moon Band of Vancouver. We're playing some music there, for a while. Yeah.
What kind was it? Rock or blues?
It was rock, but more poppy, more kind of more upbeat stuff. It was. Yeah, we did. We released an EP. I mean, the Canadian guy, the vocalist, the singer, he created the band. I was playing bass. I wasn't writing for the band, so he had,
Yeah.
So I was playing bass in his garage, in his basement. Sometimes we had a good match and a good vibe, and we wrote some songs with him, about 4 songs. So Vancouver, Canada, West Coast. Yeah.
You're doing everything that I've been thinking about doing. Writing music, engineering, being a chef, traveling.
Yeah. We had the chance. We're lucky. I have to say that we had the chance to do it. We did it, and we enjoyed it.
I'm so happy to hear that.
You don't get a chance in life. So, these chances... It was a good trip, very good experience.
I'm so glad to hear that. So,
yeah.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. So you end up back in France at that point. When did you get really serious about getting the band together, A Monkey Shine, and creating the Altered State album?
He became serious when we came back to Greece just before COVID hit. Just before the epidemic. I don't want to call it. I don't know, the COVID. So it was 2000. We came back 2009. It was 2020. So we came back to Greece and. We moved to Athens, Greece, where I grew up. I was born in Athens and grew up in Athens, Greece. So we moved back to my mom's house. My mom she passed in 2009, so she left me an apartment in Greece, in Athens. And so so we moved my wife here and it was during COVID that I said to myself, you know what? Maybe it's a good time. It was bad times in general, but maybe it's a good time to write some songs, really sit down and, create a band. So I started, I continued writing some ideas on my bass, on my laptop alone, and do some lyrics and some melodies in my head. And I started writing Audio Trip, which is dedicated to my mom, my late mom, my mother, Nikki. So I called my friend Aki,
Yep.
So I play a little bit of guitar, but I'm a guitar player, so I'm a bass player. Born and bred bass, yeah. And so I needed a guitar player, and then I needed a piano player. So I had a friend of mine, his brother was a piano player, a friend of mine from school, from schoolmate. And he had a brother, and he has a brother, Nicholas, who became our piano player. So we were a trio. I started alone as a solo, writing songs.
Okay.
And then we became a trio, which is a guitar, piano. And we started working on my ideas, the ideas I had, like audio trip, Deep in the Mud, and we had Late Wait, another song, which is a piano-based song.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the last tune in the album, I think, one of the last ones. And we started playing on, like jamming on them.
Okay.
Then we needed a vocalist, so we made it's a long process, man, to get a band together.
Yeah, especially during COVID. I mean, that's got to be even more difficult.
That was very difficult, yeah. So we couldn't find a vocal guy, like a singer, and we tried like 4 or 5 different ones.
Oh wow,
Greece. And I was like really depressed. I won't say depressed, but I was like, it doesn't sound good, I need someone else. So I actually called my friend Duke Garwood. Duke is a Mark Lanigan soul brother and collaborator, yeah. So, Duke, have you heard of Duke Garwood?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. In fact, I reached out to him to come on the podcast, so hopefully we'll get him on the podcast at some point.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's a great master bluesman.
Yeah.
He lives in Hastings, in London, close to London, in England.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I know it's somewhere around London, but I'm not exactly. I don't know the areas very well.
Yeah. The coastline. So I wanted an English dude to sing the song, and I wrote for my mom. I had the lyrics, I had the melody in my mind. So first I tried another guy that I have to mention him. There was a guy from a band called Saturation, a guy from Atlanta that I met. While I was in New Orleans, and Wesley was his name. He was an American dude with a big voice. You have to hear him. He sounds like Mark Lanigan a bit.
Wow.
You have to listen to his stuff. And I asked him, we tried a little bit remotely all that. I was in Athens sending the demo, and doing all that back and forth.
Yeah.
Stuff. And we had something going on, but he couldn't record it. He had other problems. So he said, sorry, George, I cannot continue with that project. And thank you very much. And then I went to Duke and I said, Duke, would you like to sing a song I wrote? For my mom. And I sent the demo, the instrumental, and a week later, he called me back and said, you know what, dude, I really like this song. I can feel it, so I can sing it for you. I can do the vocals. And I was like, no, let's have a party. So I had a cold beer that night. It was amazing, yeah. So I had Duke Garwood on board for this song. It gave the spark, he gave the start, everything. Yeah.
So did you know Duke beforehand, or did you just reach out cold?
I met him through Dave Rosser, and I met him after Mark Lanigan. It was a Mark Lanigan band concert. We met in Amsterdam, and he used to play with Greg Dooley also, and Dave Rosser. They were all like connected,
Okay.
So we clicked. We clicked with Duke. He's amazing. Duke is like a shaman. He's like an Indian god in a way. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Very spiritual. Yeah. Very spiritual dude, and he's amazing. Yeah. So that's how I knew him beforehand. Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. So before we get too deep into any of the music, how did you come up with the band name, A Monkey Shine?
Interesting. Well, Monkey Shines. It's a prank. Right? Yep. It's like a prank. So all the monkey shines and stuff. But actually, it's because of a film I saw in the 90s. It was a George Romero film. I don't know if you know it.
Oh, yeah.
George Romero, the guy who did like Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
So it's called Monkey Shines. The film is called Monkey Shines with an S. And it's a book also. It's a novel.
Okay.
So I saw the film and I read the book. And I said, wow, it really stuck, in my mind. I had it all the way. from the beginning of the cover band in Athens, like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I had this monkey shine in my mind. I don't know why. I wanted to name it Monkey Shine or something. And that's how it became, I said to the band, when I really had like the three guys around me, Aki, Nicholas, and I said, you know what, we're going to name it Monkey Shine. I like a lot, the sound and the, all the it's a psychological film. Have you heard? Yeah, it's kind of a thriller with a monkey.
Okay.
I don't know if you know it. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the movie, but
yeah. So it's I'm a big fan of Romero.
Okay.
And I'm a big cinema fan, also like movies and stuff. So I said I'm not going to use Monkey Shines because the film I'm going to have problems maybe in the future.
You never know. Yeah.
Copyright and stuff, trademark and stuff. So I used a Monkey Shine. I took out the S, I put the A, the letter A in front, and I said, let's call it a Monkey Shine. I loved it. Everyone loved it.
It's great.
Also, yeah.
It's so unique, and I love everything monkeys. I love monkeys.
Yeah, monkeys are, 12 Monkeys was also a film I really liked.
That was a good movie. I like that. I remember that. I haven't seen that in a long time. Now I'm getting the urge to see it now that we're talking about monkeys.
Monkeys, yeah.
Right.
It's It's also the prank, where we're not really serious. Let's say, guys, we're playing around. In a way, yeah.
Oh yeah. Are you the primary songwriter, or the guys in the band helping with any of the writing, or are you basically more directing them as what to do?
Yeah, I wrote all the songs, let's say. All the ideas are on bass and, and riffs and structure, of the songs and everything. The concept was all, like, let's say, mine, the concept. But I had to dress it, I had to put some instruments around it.
Right.
So I had to find a guitar player like Aki who knew what I wanted to hear.
Yep.
So he helped me out. The piano player also understood my vibe. He's an old school classical music guy.
Oh wow!
And I said we're going to play rock, alternative rock. He said, "What? That would be interesting. I want to try this."
Oh, nice.
So we had different background with Nicholas and. The ideas were all there. I had 7 songs in mind, 7, I wrote the lyrics and everything. I had the melody in my mind, but I needed a vocal. The vocals was the hardest part, actually. Finding a singer. I had a good opportunity. I mean, I was lucky because after a while, I was like, I tried 4 guys, as I told you, 5 guys, then the 6th guy came. It didn't work out. The accent was not very good, the pronunciation, you know what I mean? Or the articulation of the English, language wasn't so good.
Okay.
So I had online, I said, I had I'm looking for, on Facebook also, I'm looking for a vocal guy, for a singer.
Yeah.
And help me out, guys. I'm trying to find a guy. So the guy, Konstantin Kostas, another Greek name, very common.
Right.
Konstantin called me and said, have you found a guy? Have you found a singer already? I said, no. Can I try? And he came over to the studio.
Okay.
I gave him 2 songs, and he found a melody, a nice, good melody that matched. His voice is very interesting, and he's very good in English. I mean, his English is quite good, I think.
Yes.
What do you think? I don't know. What's your opinion? But
I think he's did a great job, and he's got that 90s alternative sound to his voice.
Right. That's what I was trying to find, and we clicked. And he's a good guy, and would you like to be in the band? So he said, yes, I like your stuff. I like your ideas, your music, and he's in the band now. He's a singer, yeah.
That is awesome. So, it sounds like one of the difficult parts was getting somebody without an obvious Greek accent when they're singing English.
Yeah, that's the hard part in Greece. Most bands, I wouldn't say every band, but most bands have this, as far as singing and vocals, you can hear it in there. You hear there's something wrong, not wrong, it's the accent.
The accent, yeah.
Which is good sometimes, which is interesting. But if it's very heavy, you don't like it for alternative rock. Very heavy Greek,
It depends. Yeah, I mean, it definitely depends because you get somebody, let's say, like Bjork, who's got possibly the heaviest accent singing English I've ever heard, but she makes it work. So it really, it kind of depends on the accent. Either go full on with accent or just try to take it out completely.
You're right. Yeah. So yeah, and we had the singer, and then we found a drummer. Actually, the third guy that tried the drums. He's our drummer now.
Oh, all right.
And we found the second, like a rhythm guitar player, the second guy. Kill Bill. We call him Kill Bill. He's Bill. His name is Bill. He's a good guy. He's really cool. Yeah.
So I'm assuming when you're writing and you're writing the lyrics, you're writing them out in English then.
Yeah, straight. I grew up in Greece, but I don't know. It's easier for me to write in English. Yeah.
Oh wow.
I mean, I don't know why though. It's interesting.
The words are shorter.
The words are shorter, and I can express myself sometimes better. Well, Greek language is amazing, but if you want to do alternative rock and be heard across the border, like, okay, we had Greece, but I want my songs to travel a little bit further, like in the States. And thank you very much for inviting me. And,
my pleasure.
And I'm very glad you like the songs. And some of the songs have been played on radio. They're in London, England, in France. We had some airplay, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, London, yeah. They love Deep in the Mud in England a lot. They like it, I think. Deep in the Mud is a good, yeah.
And it's the first song, right? So
yeah, it's the first song I wrote. So, English, it travels further and it doesn't stay confined within the Greek border,
Right. Yeah, it's difficult for anything outside of English to make an impact in the States here, so...
and
I guess it makes sense, but I mean, honestly, some of my favorite music is stuff that I don't understand at all. Like bands like Heilung and Ivor. They're just amazing music, but I don't know what the hell they're saying. I don't know, old German or
okay,
whatever they speak in the Faroe Islands. I don't know any of that stuff, but I love the music and I love the vocals.
That's interesting with music because sometimes they're lyric, you're a lyric guy or music. It depends where you. Sometimes there's just the music that hits you, that gets into you, and sometimes the lyrics are important. I don't know. That's a debate. That's a good debate. Lyrics or music?
It is. For me, it's like the melody. If it doesn't matter what language they're singing in, if the melody hits me, that's all I need. So, the first time I heard the album, I liked it. But I've listened to it a lot more over the past week. And the more I listen to it, the more I like it, the more I start to love it, the more I notice about it. And so you get the opener, Get to the Point. It's a great opener for the album because it just sets the tone for what's to come throughout the album. And, it sets the expectation. And it's a great track. But once Cotton White Overdrive kicks in, I am completely hooked. That song, that's my favorite on the album. It's got this like funereal desert rock sound. I mean, I've been trying to think of the word to describe it, but it's basically what the album is. It's the album in one song. Your album is just this interesting mix of desert rock meets swamp rock.
Yeah.
So, Deep in the Mud is probably perfect because you get the desert, you get the swamp, and you're getting mud.
Yeah.
So
Cotton White has a little bit. Cotton White has a little bit of gospel feel, through the chorus.
Yes.
The choruses. So it has this gospel sound a little bit. I like gospel from New Orleans, a little bit, like this.
Oh yeah, well you had you probably had a good schooling in it. That and Dixieland and jazz.
Yeah.
The close second for my favorite track is Audio Trip with Duke Garwood, and it's just neck and neck with Cotton White Overdrive, but there's just something about Duke's voice. It's just I don't know what it hits me like Lanigan's voice hits you. There's just something spooky and otherworldly about it. It makes that song go to another level. I love that, and I love the performance.
I'm very, very happy you like it. Actually, Audio Trip is the closest song in my heart.
Yeah.
It's deepest. More, you know what I mean? Well, it's my closest song, let's say.
Yeah, it's so it's very close to your heart, and you wrote it for your mom. It's special to you. So I'm glad you're happy with it, because if a song that's special, you're the one that needs to be happy with it more than anybody.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things I noticed about the album as a whole is that it really does showcase your love of the heavier 90s alt music like Soundgarden, Mad Season, Masters of Reality, Mother Love Bone, Caius, and other stuff like Mark Lanigan, Queens of the Stone Age. You can hear a little bit of all of that throughout the album, and it's a really awesome showcase of your influences. Was it difficult for you to work on your own music after helping out in the studio in New Orleans, going in and having to separate yourself from the music to actually release it and edit it and make it an album and not just a collection of songs that you wrote and love?
Yeah, that's wow. Where should I start? I mean, I've always believed that expressing yourself through music has to be in a way that is very, not personal, but it has to be unique in a way, which is very hard. I mean, like there's let's say, saturation of sounds in the world. There's so many sounds around and so many genres and so many everything. So there's nothing like new to this thing.
Right.
So you get the vibe, as you told me, the 90s vibe. So I grew up with I actually started really listening to music when I was like in my teenage years in 90s, 94, and it's embedded in me, in my DNA, like this sound. So I wanted to feel, I was writing something like I was living in the 90s and writing something, the things that I had so many influences, because I have different influences. I'm not only a 90s guy, I like also the Bristol school, Bristol, like trip hop, Massive Attack, Portishead, those bands, Stone Roses from Manchester, Joy Division, all that stuff. And I was trying to do what they told me, actually. Rick told me, what's the best thing to do? Well, there's no recipe for music, but try and combine your influences to a point, but, combine them, and as far as sound and feel and marriage, connect them together and try to find a way to balance your influences so it becomes your own. It becomes your own style in a way. I don't know how to explain it. It's lack of a better term. It's like a good, we call it mélange, in France. Oh yeah, like mixture of influences. So it's good when you have. I think I like music. When I hear music, I said, you know what? I hear a little bit of that in there, and a little bit of that in there, and a little bit, but they're so well balanced together.
Yeah.
So influences are, the good thing is we have different influences in the band. So Akis got me into more classical rock, things like blues stuff also, like he likes blues a lot. And the singer is a more pop guy. He likes modern, mainstream stuff. Okay. So we have different influences in the band. Try to mix all together for the next one. There's going to be a next one soon. Yeah, not soon, but we'll try to do a next one within, 2 years from now.
Oh, nice. When you're editing this music, I know editing this podcast can be a pain, as far as taking things out that I might want to keep in. And when I edit, I try to keep as much of the interview in as possible, unless it's just it's gone off the rails completely. but I have to kind of try to separate myself a little bit and think, all right, what does the listener want to hear? Was that tough for you to do with the music, since some of it was, so personal to you?
To be honest, I like the music I made. I like it to be heard, by people. I wouldn't lie on that. And everybody, all the musicians. Yeah. The first thing is that you have to like it yourself. That's important. Okay.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do something just for commercial reasons, or how much you're gonna sell. Let's do something, like a fillers, the fillers.
Yep.
Yeah, let's put this song there so it fills the gap. But you have to like it yourself, and then it would be nice for other people to like it. Yeah, it's a kind of it gives you a kind of satisfaction, for your work. But I wasn't thinking. I wanted the first album is very personal, but I'm really happy and that it hit some people. Like you said, Caught a Wide Overdrive and all the trips there. I really like the way it affects, it brings out the feelings, let's say, for some people that have lost a loved one for audio trip, dealing with loss, it seems like existential questions, like Lazy Eye is is a song about my student years and about my questioning in life, like what I'm going to do. Where do we go from here? Is it, things like in the lyrics, you'll find in the lyrics. And
altered state, a scary place to be, feel the shape of things you see. Enticing, never feel lazy. Who am I?
then we have Make Ends Meet, which is a survival song. What do we do to make ends meet? People work, people struggle in life, things like that. Like Lake Waves is about friendship. It's about patience in life and friendship and dreaming a dream. Dreams are good, Have dreams in life. It gives a little bit of spice in your life to dream about things, Yeah.
All right, so Lazy Eye, it's a great song. It's so good, in fact, it's on there twice. So what prompted you to put an instrumental version, and why that track and not another one?
That was Nicholas. It was an idea I had with Nicholas while we were writing the rock ballads, the slower songs, the mid-tempo, like Audio Trip and Lazy Eye and Light Wave. They are more calmed down, they're more chill. So we're thinking like writing something for a film. We had the same vision with Nick. Let's write something that can be a soundtrack, maybe, potentially,
Okay.
Maybe use it in a film. So we're writing with this approach. We approach the songs just as instrumentals. For starters, instrumentals.
Okay.
I wrote the lyrics afterwards for these songs. Apart from Audio Trip. Audio Trip was more lyrics and melody together, but the other one, Lazy Eye, I wrote it it was a rainy day, and I had this, I called it the rain effect. The rain effect in the beginning. Yes. And it was a rainy day in Athens. I was like a little bit, the mood was dark and a little bit, and I started writing this bass line, the bass line, and it was the feel at that moment. It was the moment I said, you know what, let's think about it a little bit and enjoy the rain and the sound of the rain. And I wrote Lazy Eye, and it was instrumental. That's why I used, the first version was instrumental, and I wanted to have it in the album. That's why, yeah.
That is awesome. I love how it ends on that. I think ending on an instrumental is a great feature. It's a great thing. I don't know. I like when bands will do that. There's a couple things that pop into my head. A couple, Verve did that on Northern Soul. They ended up on an instrument. And I think that's a really interesting way, really unique way to end an album. And I like it personally.
Yeah, it's a way. I was thinking of doing make an album with Nicholas and the guitar player, which is going to be instrumental for films, for soundtrack. And I already had the name of the album in my mind. It's going to be called Split.
Oh, wow, okay.
And it's going to be instrumental because I like to. Being in a band, I love it. It's amazing to be in a rock band, but I'd like to do something that might be more soundtracky. Well, I don't know the word, more, I really love to hear a song of mine in a film one day. Yeah. That's kind of a dream. That's a dream, let's say, So it's good to have dreams, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you guys played out much? Have you done this live?
We've done it 3 times. Okay. It was a difficult period for our singer, and we did 3 live shows this year before summer. So it was February, we did one in May and one in June, yeah. And so we did 3 live shows. We're planning to do some live shows to present the album. So we have one big festival, like a Greek festival, rock and roll festival, which is coming for the winter. In the summer, it's a little bit, we're in hiatus, let's say. Yeah. But yeah, it's too hot to go play music. So we're going to do another one in November. We have one coming up in November, late November. It's going to be with 3 different bands in a big venue and stuff in Athens.
Oh, nice.
And we want to do some touring next year. We'll try Europe.
Yeah.
Not the States for now. Not the States. Too far. But
too far, too expensive.
Too expensive now for now, yeah. But maybe in the future, we'd like to play in the States, yeah.
What is the best way for people to get the album and purchase it and help support this whole dream of yours?
We're going to have a vinyl release soon. It's going to be a limited release, 200 copies, prints, and the music is online. Everything's online. We have Bandcamp, our Bandcamp page.
Yes.
Which is we have YouTube and Spotify and all the platforms. We can actually find the album. Streaming platforms. Mm-hmm. Apple Music and Tidal. I don't know if you use Tidal in the States. Yeah.
Yes. I actually like Tidal.
Deezer and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And so we have this digital release, and we want to have a vinyl. So we're going to print a vinyl soon. It takes some time. It's more expensive, to be honest. Yeah. So it's going to take like 3 months late this year. Towards the end of the year, we're going to have a vinyl release.
Okay.
But vinyl is going to be limited. I mean, it's not going to be too many. I mean, the copies. We're going to have some copies on Bandcamp.
Okay.
For purchase.
Yeah,
that's gonna be good. Yeah. I mean, to send to people, and yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That is
vinyl. I'm a vinyl guy. Yeah. I love vinyl. I collect vinyl. Well, not so much, but I can be.
I'm more of a CD guy. I've had
CD guy.
Oh yeah. Verve.
CDs. I haven't CD yet. Yeah, CD guy. Okay. Do you have vinyl in your house? Do you play vinyl?
I don't play a lot. I have some collectible vinyl, but I'm always nervous about playing vinyl. I don't have a setup where I can really have a good place to listen to it right now.
Okay.
So what I do is I usually end up, if I get a vinyl, usually it's there's a download code or something with it, and I'll download it. I'll either play it through my phone, or I'll put it on a USB stick and play it in my car.
Yeah. Okay.
So
you have to.
Oh, here, yeah. This I'll show you my CDs here. Let me unhook this thing. So that's my wall of CDs.
Wow, that's big. Wow.
And then
Mark,
I got a few more over there. So.
Yeah. Oh, guitar. Yeah, you play guitar also. You play a little bit.
I play very badly, but I enjoy. I honestly haven't really picked it up in over a year at this point because it's work and the podcast and photography, and I've got so many other things I'm doing that the amp hasn't even been hooked up yet. So
you just sit there, you look at it, and say, How you doing today? You know, I'm good.
Yeah, kind of for the moment. But I've been honestly with a Monkey Shine and a couple other people that I've had on the podcast here. I'm getting the itch to play again.
That's good to hear.
So
that's very good. Yeah.
So the sound that you've got with the 90s. I was born in '73, so I grew up.
Oh, you're older than me. A little bit older, 4 years older. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I grew up. I went to college right when grunge exploded. So it was a perfect time. So it's kind of the sound that you're getting is making me nostalgic. Yes, for that, and making me want to play a little bit more. So it's awesome.
That's good to hear. I love that. Yeah.
So,
let's hope. Yeah.
Where's the best way for people to follow the band? Is there social media presence, a website, place people
We
can follow?
have a Facebook page and an Instagram page. We're not the TikTok guys. We're too old. We're old school.
Thank you. I can't stand TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not so good at, I have Facebook. I know how to use Facebook. Instagram, I'm not so good. Yeah, but, following is like this is actually, when I hear following, there's a good film called Following, a horror film.
Oh.
So that's what I say to the followers: go check that film. Following, and you're gonna die.
Oh, then you'll stop following people.
It's called The Following. Yeah.
Oh, so is that all under a Monkey Shine?
Yeah, it's a Monkey Shine project. Yeah, under a Monkey Shine, and we're in the process of finding a manager for the album.
Okay.
Who's going to be more into social media, more stuff, but it's going to take some time. So yeah. It's a necessary evil in a way. Evil. I don't want to say evil. It helps, but you have to be careful with social stuff. I think a little bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's
yeah.
Yeah,
it's a different story. Yeah, different.
It's a whole other podcast.
But it helps.
It does.
Helps, we have our fan base, a little bit of a fan base that's expanding, and it helps. Facebook has helped a lot for that.
Oh, that's awesome.
And yeah.
This has been a blast. I just adore this album. It has grown up. I mean, I liked it the first time I heard it, but the more I listen to it, the more it grows on me. Like a nice fungus.
It's a nice fungus. Yeah. One secret, I'm going to tell you one secret, sorry, for the album. You know that the bass guitar I use for the album, my bass, it's the Lakeland that the Garwood twins used for Saturnalia. You know the album Saturnalia?
Yes.
Mark Flanagan, Greg Dooley project? Yeah. It's Scott Ford's album. The guy from the States, I bought it from him in L.A. when I was in L.A. Wow. So I used the same bass guitar that Saturnalia was, the album from 2008, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, that is...
So it's the same bass. It's a secret, yeah.
Oh, well, it's not going to be a secret much longer.
So I use the Lakeland, Chicago. It's a Chicago endorsed bass for Scott Ford, the guy, the bass player. Twilight Singers, you know the Twilight Singers? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anything Lanigan related, I'm in.
Yeah.
George, this has been fantastic. It's been great to speak with you and get to know you a little bit better here, more than just on Facebook. And I really do appreciate you sending me the album and talking with me and explaining a lot of it, because I get to talk to a lot of people, but people overseas have a much different viewpoint. And I always love to hear how you got started into things and what some of the music that we have in common means to you, because it's usually a lot different. And I really appreciate your viewpoint and thank you for sharing everything with me.
Sharing is everything in life, everything. I mean, that's what I think. Meeting people, sharing art or ideas, it gets us closer. We have to be closer.
Absolutely.
Alienation it's a thing that scares me, actually, in life, but that's a different podcast also.
Exactly. Well, we'll have to have you back on. We'll have to do another one about
Mark, thank you very much for inviting me.
Oh,
to talk, for discussion. It's amazing.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And thank Allison for getting us connected.
Yeah.